In the world of Undertale, you've surely come across the cool and hip skeleton in Snowdin, namely the infamous Sans. Many gamers either hate or love this smiley trash bag. You either know him as the one who helps out and is supportive in your travels, or if you made some not so great choices in the game, you might know him as the heroic antagonist. Nevertheless, one can say he's a definite fan favorite amongst the other characters you meet within the game. Even so, many are still puzzled and don't really know what he is, what he can do, or where he even came from. I'm not saying I got all the answers, but I put together quite a good profile about this eccentric and peculiar character you meet in Undertale. Hey all, it's Antonio from Merlin. Today I'll be talking about Sans, one of the major characters you come across in indie RPG Undertale, created by Toby Fox. Before I continue, I would like to inform the viewers that this video does contain spoilers. All good? Okay then, let's carry on. In this video I'll be talking about Sans' style, his personality, his abilities, a few theories and a few facts you probably didn't know about our bony friend. Upon completing the very beginning of the game and exiting the ruins, you find that there is a strange shadowy figure that follows you from the tree line. Once reaching the beginning of a bridge, the shadowy figure emerges and starts talking to you. He then attempts to shake your hand. There's a slight tension in the air. But that tension swiftly comes to an end when you hear an eerie fart noise. This is the first time the player meets Sans in the flesh, so to speak. After the first encounter, you already start understanding what kind of character Sans portrays. Especially since the first thing Sans did was prank the player with a hidden whoopee cushion. He then introduces the player to his younger brother, Papyrus, another skeletal being, whom he claims is a human hunting maniac, but is pretty harmless. Apart from his actions, one can slowly start profiling this character by means of his appearance. Sans is a short skeleton with a huge smile, accompanied with perfectly aligned teeth and huge eye sockets. Sans also rocks a certain relaxed kind of style, sporting an unzipped blue hoodie and white t-shirt sweater, black shorts with white stripes and a pair of sneakers. At a later stage within the game, you also notice that when angered or serious, his white pupils disappear, and when he uses the power of telekinesis, his left eye flashes blue and yellow, the colors for patience and justice, and his right pupil disappears. When progressing within the game and on your travels, you start realizing that Sans is what people may call a layered character. Fans of Sans usually like him due to his laid-back personality. You'll often find him sleeping on the job or taking breaks. He's also pretty quick-witted and has a tendency to break the fourth wall like our flowery friend. Some might think that his laziness comes from fatalism and apathy, knowing that any progress made within his travels will be erased when the timeline resets. Retrospectively, he also suggests that this knowledge could be a poor excuse for being lazy. Perhaps that is why Sans only speaks in all lowercase letters, not even capitalizing names or sentence starters, with a few exceptions of course. He's that lazy. After all, Sans' name does refer to the typeface in which he speaks, the dastardly and well-known Comic Sans and Sans Serif. Maybe Toby Fox did this as a reference to Helvetica, a webcomic about a skeleton named after a font. Even though Sans is laid back, he becomes spookily serious at times. Especially with those freaky eyes of his. But it's not all bad. He loves making skeleton-related puns, and the fact that he performs at the MTT resort may mean he's a comedian. There's a lot of mystery behind Sans' background. His happy-go-lucky and relaxed demeanor, even in the most serious of moments, does signify that he might know more than he lets on. Apart from his mysterious characteristics, upon your travels you also start realizing that Sans also has some very interesting abilities. When speaking to Flowey, he does mention that Sans usually foils his diabolical plans and forces him to reset multiple times. If you'd like to learn more about Flowey, click on the link above or in the description below. Nevertheless, I digress. Let's continue. Within Undertale, Sans is easily considered the hardest battle in the game. Sans is the one skeleton that needs true real-life determination to defeat. A character which goes beyond the physics of space and time, and also strangely adores jokes and playing the trombone. Sans has an arsenal of powerful abilities in battle and out of it. Within the game, you'll likely find that Sans can switch from place to place at an instant. He sort of has the ability to travel or teleport using what he calls shortcuts. Something very perplexing when seeing him jump from one corner of the screen to somewhere completely different. In combat, Sans uses Gaster Blasters, devices which look like a skull that shoot huge lasers unlike other beings you battle with in Undertale. Sans packs a major punch when battling him, with unique abilities that include KR or Karma and attacking the protagonist in their selection menus. He doesn't really like to play fair, does he? And to be frank, he does warn the player multiple times in the game that he will be pretty upset if you decide to kill the monsters in the underground. Sans's research also gives him knowledge of timelines and the save function. However, he does not retain all his memories when the protagonist loads a save, and ultimately cannot use the save function for himself. He is aware of time travel and knows if the protagonist has experienced events before and are repeating them. Strangely, Sans is also aware when the game's code suffers bugs and calls the protagonist a dirty hacker if they end up in this specific situation. Perhaps Sans is an omniscient or omnipotent god of some sort in Undertale lore. Kind of like Dr. Manhattan, without the shiny skin and nakedness. From his godlike abilities to his hot dog stand and wokeness, Sans is one character gamers are very intrigued about. Surprisingly, there's a theory that in Japanese phonetics, Sans's name is homophonous with the name of the Sanzu River, a boundary between death and the afterlife in Buddhist law. Like Sans, which judges all who cross it for their deeds. This can furthermore be debated that the Sanzu River is also a recurring locale in the Touhou series, from which Toby ultimately drew inspiration for Undertale's bullet hell battles. With all of these wide-ranging abilities and character traits, unlike any other character you meet within the game, people ask, who is Sans, and where did he come from? Well, there's quite a bit of theories out there about Sans and his origins. Namely the one where he's theorized to be former royal scientist W.D. Gaster's relative, or lover, or experiment, or he himself reincarnated. I mean, we do find that he has a scientific background, especially when checking out the evidence like the quantum physics book, the workshop, his relationship to Alphys, his affinity for science, and his timeline research. There's even more far-reaching fan speculation from our friends at Game Theory, with the Sans is Ness theory. But this is pretty wild to think about, really. Sadly, we do not know, and we probably will never know where Sans came from. But leaving things up to people's imagination really is something spectacular to behold. Well, it's almost time up, but before I go, I will leave you with this fun fact. Did you know Sans appears to be left-handed? For example, greeting Frisk with a handshake using his left hand, manipulating gravity with his left hand, steering a tricycle like a lefty, and drinking with it as well. You probably didn't notice, did you? And with that, it's time up, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you would like to watch more videos on Undertale, click on the like button below and subscribe for more Merlin content. We'll see you soon. Happy trails, boys and girls.